I get asked all the time, what does a typical architect's day look like? What does a design process look like? What does the delivery of a project look like? So what I'm going to do is actually a series of different series covering aspects of a project. So for this initial series, we're going to be looking at the design process. And what I'm going to do is enter a real competition. I'm going to document every single step. So we're going to look at the brief, we're going to look at some precedents, and then we're going to end up designing something and formally submitting that competition entry. Now, this isn't going to be a complete step-by-step tutorial of every software, every drawing technique. It's just going to be a good documentation of each step, basically, and it's going to be 8 videos. So this is part 1. Let's take a look at the competition we've chosen and the brief, break that down, and then set us up for the rest of the project. Right then, so the competition is the tiny house. And I've seen this cropping up a few times on social media over the last few years. So I must admit, I have fancied this competition. It's a nice small scale, and residential is my specialism as well. So fingers crossed we end up with something half decent. So this is the entry page. I've already entered it and got my unique ID and all that sort of stuff. And then as I'm scrolling down, there's tons of questions, minimum requirements, all that sort of stuff. I'll concentrate on that more towards the end. The important thing here is download the brief. So then we've got this brief here. Introduction, home is a space, home goes beyond its everyday function, being a physical shelter, being redefined every day. Yeah, I agree with that, definitely post-COVID. Homes today are versatile, doubling up as offices, play, all that sort of stuff. I want to get to the challenge. So the design of the tiny house should be innovative, creative, with a sustainable edge. The relation between exterior, interior, Right, the area of the tiny house should not exceed 300 square feet, sorry, I should say. So that is about 30 square meters. If we do 300 divided by 10.76, so 27 square meters. So that's like a tiny apartment. So I'm guilty of a few tiny apartments in my time. So that should be straightforward enough. Just in terms of the contents. Now, I suppose in this series, I want to sort of say aloud really what I'm thinking. So straight away, I'm looking at that going, right, the scale is perfect. It's simple in terms of the scale and what we need to achieve, what we need to model, draw, show, all that sort of stuff. So we've got judging criteria, concept, innovation. I have to design an innovative housing module. Site selection, the participants are to select a site in either urban or rural context. The entries will be evaluated on the basis of the site justification. Right, okay. I was actually thinking of doing like a coastal site, but does it need to be real? I'm not entirely sure. Spatial design, creativity displayed in the spatial design, functional versatility. Now, what I'm thinking, so again, just to think aloud, I'm thinking that this wants to be quite special when it comes to things being maybe hidden in the walls, sleeping areas, like the bed wants to be embedded in the wall. Can we get like dining tables? Can they be collapsible? There is a series on YouTube called like Tiny Apartments or something like that. I must have a quick look at that in a sec. That probably will come to mind for precedents actually, which will be the next lesson or the next video. And in the submission format is a single A1 sheet. 150 dpi, that's quite low. File must be marked with your identification. Mustn't include any personal information. That's fair play. It wants to be anonymous, although this kind of defeats the object of anonymous, doesn't it? I bet you none of these subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right, okay, so that's a quick summary of the brief. Now, shameless plug for ArchAdemia as a platform. we have built an amazing AI assistant. And what I want to do is actually drop in the brief, right? It's called Corb, after Le Corbusier, if you didn't guess. So I'm going to say, Corb, can you help me break down the attached brief, please? I'm always nice to AIs, just in case. Right, so you're designing tiny house, there we go, but 28 square meters, that's fine, I had 27. Needs to be innovative, sustainable, fully functional, required spaces. So what's it saying here? Sleeping area for 2 people. Making all of this work together without feeling cramped. It's actually recommending a couple of courses there. So strategic approach, start with the user. Solve the storage puzzle, yeah. Design transformable spaces, there we go, beds that fold, tables that collapse. I'll just say something like, are you aware of any good precedents along the line of this sort of project? Now, while I leave it with that message, right, so we've digested the brief initially. We will kind of revisit the brief pretty much every step, of course. But what I like to do when I enter competitions, I have won one in my time, I believe it or not. And a key with this, the competition I did win was, it didn't have anything previous. It was a one-off kind of water sports centre. The thing that I was quite proud of with our entry was we identified repeating elements of the brief and then really lent into that. But with this, it's an annual competition, and it's like an ideas competition rather than a specific build one. And what we can do is look at past winners. And for me, there is no better source of inspiration. So if we just go right down to I don't want to look at all the entries. That was the top 50. Let's do honourable mentions. Now, I want to keep this light-ish in that all I'm trying to look at here is just, what is attracting the judge's eye. So for this one, it's quite nice. It's very light touch on the ground. It's not got tons of foundation, stuff like that. And they've obviously gone for the vertical approach. That one's very cool. That's a bit of me, that one. Very translucent, which would make it feel quite light and airy. Love the kind of structural diagrams. Again, these have gone vertical. Does that look a bit pop-uppy? That's quite nice. And then so on and so on. So some of these are quite simple, but I like simple. Simplicity is the mother of sophistication, I think, as the quote goes. That's nice as well. I like the sort of angles on that. They've gone for worst case if everything floods. Do like the triangular approach. Okay, so some ideas coming from these, but again, not to criticise any of them, but they are simple, aren't they? You haven't got a lot to work with, so it's not the most daunting of projects. And I'll be honest, that's why I've picked it for this sort of series. Don't want to overdo it with a big art gallery competition. I like some of these. And which was the winner? It says winners. I'm guessing this was the top dog though, so let's have a look. Right. Honestly, I was expecting something like this. Modes. Living mode. I think that wants to drive some of our ideas, that the thing is almost like a bit of a Rubik's Cube sort of thing, where it can fold out and it can have different modes. So work mode, living mode. And I like, without even reading it, I like that this is saying cafe mode. So does this space serve as a place of business as well? Not just like working in an office. Is it an actual cafe? And sorry, is that gone? And I love these little diagrams as well. So that structural diagram is speaking to a sustainable strategy, solar panel, that sort of stuff. So we mustn't ignore that, and visuals are excellent. So that is a great place to basically, at the very least, so we've got some design ideas, but at the very least we've even got board composition ideas, so you can't go wrong there. So then I'm asking for direct precedence. You can see there, tiny house tag, micro living coverage, okay. And actually, just to finish this first video off, we've got this as well. The big ideas, small buildings, excess. And in here, there are tons of ideas as well. If I can just hold that up. Now, before we finish, I mentioned about repeating elements from the brief. If there's anything I want you to take away from this, it's the following. Can you assess from the brief repeating elements or anything that the writer of the brief has clearly emphasized? What are we targeting as our top 3 areas of focus? You don't need to use our AI. You can use ChatGPT and what have you. But the key here is we've skimmed the brief ourselves, and for me, a good use of AI is filtering through data, and written data is still data. So to sign us off, what are the 3 areas of focus? Spatial innovation and multi-functionality. Okay, so that could be a title on the submission, because that's clearly prominent in the brief. Site integration. The brief explicitly states they can choose any site. The design should justify its location. So we need to be very aware of site and then concept clarity. Listed first in the jury criteria and mentioned throughout. Innovative and sustainable. They're looking for a big idea that's immediately readable, not just a small house done well, but fundamentally rethinking. So I think as we're moving through the design process, we want to point back to these 3 things. And for me, that is what a good competition entry does. It's very clear in what it's trying to achieve, and it's always pointing back to it. So with that high level note to finish on, let's leave episode 1 there, and that is the brief. It's summarising the brief, bit of an introduction, and we've had a little look at past winners and maybe just started to move into precedent. For me, the first proper steps into a design is then looking deeper into precedents. So Corb here has recommended a few, and I've got a few ideas of my own as well. So I'll leave it there, and I'll catch you in the next episode.